History remembers empires, but it's the people who break the mold, who lead when no one expects them to, that leave the deepest mark. They didn't all wear crowns. Some were women in a world ruled by men. Some were rebels. Others, rulers who dared to change everything. Their stories remind us that true leadership isn't about power. It's about courage, vision, and timing. Let's start in the 3rd century before Christ, in a land where war was the path to glory. Ashoka the Great. India, circa 268 BC. Ashoka inherited the Maurya Empire through conquest and began his reign as a feared military commander. But everything changed after the Kalinga War, around 261 BC. Over 100,000 people died. But what shocked Ashoka wasn't the victory. It was the cost. He turned away from violence and embraced Buddhism, becoming history's first recorded monarch to rule by moral example. His stone edicts promoted tolerance, animal welfare, and non-violence across an empire of 50 million. Ashoka didn't just conquer land. He transformed the very idea of what it meant to lead. More than 1,000 years later, leadership would look very different. But the courage to stand alone remained the same. Queen Elizabeth III, England 1558. AD. When Elizabeth took the throne in 1558, England was torn by religious strife, foreign threats, and doubts about her legitimacy. She was 25, unmarried, and the last of the Tudor line. But she reigned for 45 years. She defeated the Spanish Armada, held a divided kingdom together, and sparked the English Renaissance. Shakespeare, exploration, and national identity flourished. She never married. Her loyalty was to England. In an age where women were seen as weak, she ruled with steel and vision. Centuries earlier, on the open steppes of Asia, another kind of leader had risen, not by birth, but by merit. Genghis Khan, Mongolia, 1206. AD, born Temujin in 1162. His early life was marked by betrayal and survival. By 1206, he united the Mongol tribes through alliances based on loyalty, not lineage. He built the largest land empire in history, from the Pacific to the Danube. He introduced a postal system, protected religious freedom, and established a legal code that punished corruption. Yes, his campaigns were brutal, but his vision connected East and West through the Silk Road, opening the world to unprecedented exchange. Feared, yes, but also a strategist of global unification. And then came a voice from the countryside of France. A voice no one could ignore. Joan of Arc, France, 1429, AD, a 17-year-old peasant girl, no training, no title. But in 1429, she convinced Charles VII to let her lead his army, and won. Joan believed she was sent by God. She wore men's armor, led from the front, and reignited French hope. Captured in 1430, tried for heresy, and burned at the stake in 1431. She was just 19, but time reversed the verdict. Canonized in 1920, Joan remains a timeless icon of moral bravery in the face of impossible odds. In the modern world, leadership has taken quieter forms, but no less powerful. Angela Merkel, Germany, 2005 AD. In 2005, a scientist from East Germany became the country's first female chancellor. No fiery speeches, no charisma campaign, just competence and calm. For 16 years, Merkel led through the Eurozone crisis, the refugee influx, and COVID-19. She listened more than she spoke, made decisions rooted in data, not ego. In a world obsessed with noise, she proved that quiet strength still shapes nations. When she stepped down in 2021, she left as one of the most respected leaders of the century. From politics to prison, one man's path would redefine reconciliation. Nelson Mandela, South Africa, 1994. AD, Mandela spent 27 years in prison for fighting apartheid. When he walked free in 1990, few imagined that he would become South Africa's first black president. But in 1994, he was elected. not with vengeance, but with forgiveness. He built a government of national unity, stood beside his former jailers, and dismantled the system that oppressed his people. Then he did something almost no leader does. He stepped down after one term. Mandela didn't just change South Africa. He redefined leadership after trauma, with grace, not revenge. And today, in the age of media, one young girl's voice rose louder than gunfire. Malala Yousafzai, Global 2012 AD. She was 15 when a Taliban gunman shot her for demanding girls' education. But Malala survived and spoke louder than ever. From a hospital bed in Birmingham, she wrote, gave speeches and inspired millions. By 17, she became the youngest Nobel Peace Prize laureate in history. She co-founded the Malala Fund, addressed world leaders, and stood for the rights of every child. She commands no army, but her voice, unwavering and wise, launched a movement. Each of these leaders shattered expectations. Some led nations, others lit a spark, but all shared one thing. They led with purpose, not permission. History remembers the empires, but we remember the people who changed them. From forgotten empires to iconic voices, which story challenged your view of leadership? Leave a comment and follow Smart Reels to keep history alive and relevant.